and welcome to the Pawsit podcast. I'm Dr. Sam, and with me, as always, is Dr. Robert. How are you, Dr. Robert?
Good, Sam. How you doing?
I am doing great, and as you can see, we have an awesome guest today. I have to say I'm very, very excited. This is Kat Timmons, and she is a veterinary technician, and it is Technician Week. Technician Appreciation Week, I should say. So yay, we appreciate you and all the other technicians out there. I can tell you my technicians are literally, I don't know what I would do without them. They are my right and left hand. They are my brain. Before I know I need something, they have already told me what I needed, have it out ready for me. So I literally can walk into any position and make it look like I know what I'm doing and that I'm a good doctor. So I owe that to my technicians. And I know that you have worked with Dr. Robert, and so he has only wonderful things to say about you. So, Kat, thank you so much for joining us. We're so happy to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. I'm excited.
I'm excited. We haven't seen each other in a couple of years, so I'm thrilled that you're able to join us on this podcast. And I guess one of the big things I think I loved, like you start off was like how you got into the field of veterinary medicine, what kind of led you to where you are. And oh, hi, you're a surprise guest.
Something tells me it might have something to do with that little guy.
How I got into veterinary medicine, is that what you're asking about? Okay, well, it's a long story, so I'm going to try to shorten it up a bit. I grew up with medicine in my family. Both my parents were firefighters, and we talked about, medicine at the dinner table, so I grew up with that. And then I actually ended up doing theater in college. So I was a theater major. Yeah, so kind of left turn there.
I was a music theater major.
Hey, nice.
I knew I liked you.
Yeah. So did theater in college and moved to Chicago to pursue improv. And then, did that for a while. And I kind of fell into, was in some improv troupes with some ladies, and one of them was a lawyer and was like, hey, do you want to make some money on the side? I said, sure. And then I started working at a bankruptcy law firm for like 9 years. And it was the most soul sucking, awful place. It was good because it paid the bills, but I was definitely not happy. So I left, and I think I was in my mid 30s at that time. Like, what do I want to be when I grow up? So I started looking into jobs for animals, and everything that I was seeing was looking for certified vet techs. So then I started looking at, school, vet tech school. And then I was also considering human nursing. Mm-hmm. Like, how do I go about choosing between the two? And then I spent a week with my nieces and nephew, taking care of them. And I realized how disgusting humans are. My nephew's coming out of the bathroom and going, I can't stop the toilet from flushing. And I'm like, oh gosh. So I'm not meant to deal with human bodily fluids. Animal body fluids are fine. No problem there. So I decided to go to animal nursing school, and have been, working as a CVT ever since.
Very cool.
That's a different version.
Yeah, but I love it. I feel like people really find their calling when they are just kind of open to what's around them. And like, you were like doing something that you were passionate about, and that brought you to something else that you were not so passionate about. So you found something, I feel like I had a very circuitous route to being a veterinarian. So I very much appreciate others that found their way slightly later.
Yeah. I think.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think it is a calling in some way. Like, we all love animals and grow up with animals and, whatever. But I think it does take a special person to be able to care for them in a medicinal way,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 100% agree. And was Premier your first job as a technician?
Yes, I for a tech school, you have to complete an externship. So I went there for my externship, and I was hired on, and I've been there ever since. It's been my one and only home for the last 8.5, almost 9 years now, I think.
Wow.
So wow. Yeah.
And so you kind of started there as a baby tech, but now you're kind of in a leadership role there.
Correct.
As well, right?
Yes, I am. Now I started as a brand new technician, and I'm now an assistant clinical supervisor, which is, I'm an assistant to basically like the nurse manager.
Wow. Very cool. And so you have one of the most difficult shifts. You and Robert are my heroes. So you guys do the overnight stuff. So you're there when the you know what hits the fan and you need someone to take care of your baby. So you're like the one that's really in there really doing the care. So what does a night look like for you? I mean, I know they're never the same, right? But like maybe walk people through what it's like to do what you do.
Yeah. So I work from 8 a.m. Excuse me, I lied. 8 p.m. to 8 a.m., but it's never just 8 a.m. You're always
No.
there.
Yeah.
Start rounding until 8 a.m. So I usually wake up, my first alarm goes off at 6:25. My second alarm goes off at 6:45. My third alarm goes off at 7, and then I have to leave the house, alarms go off at 7:20 and 7:30. And in between those times, we have the electronic whiteboard SmartFlow. So I always like to check and see, oh boy, what am I walking into?
Mm.
It's like
And
a
then
blessing and a curse, that one
it
is. Like knowing how much stuff is in front of you is it makes you almost not want to come to work some days. You're like, maybe
So
I'll
is
stay
that
home.
a wait? Is that that's not a wait list? That's like who's been admitted. So that's like what you are caring for in the hospital, right?
it's both actually. So it's
Oh,
admitted, and then you also have patients that are waiting to be seen.
oh wow.
So before, I would only judge by when I got into the parking lot and saw how busy the parking lot was. You're like, ugh, or oh. Um, that was never the most accurate thing because especially at an ER, a lot of people arrive in different cars to come, when they're called in, type of thing. So yeah, I always check SmartFlow to see what I'm walking into. It kind of prepares me a little bit, even though yes, it can be very sad to look at it and go, oh no. Um, and then I round with the daytime crew. So they will pass on all the information about the animals that are already admitted. I am usually on what we call inpatients or more ICU stuff. So I'm caring for all of our inpatients. We also have outpatient nurses or kind of ER nurses, or CBTs, sorry, that will see the outpatients.
Mhm.
So we see a variety of things. We have a couple different specialties at our hospital. We have
Mm.
radiology, surgery, anesthesia, internal medicine, neurology. Am I forgetting anybody? Probably oncology occasionally. So we see hospitalized patients come in through our ER and then through our uh, specialties service as well. But yeah, we see a variety of cases. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. I love it. Okay, well, I'm guessing it's a he, but what's his or her name?
That is Ryland.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody should check out the video of the podcast for this one
Exactly.
because you can
Everyone's
see a
gonna gotta go to
special,
YouTube because
right?
that's
An
a very
extra
cute
special
orange
guest.
cat. I love
This
orange
must be
kitties,
part of the fun.
by the way.
I miss having cats, honestly. I miss having cats. That's they're very like intuitive and they like to just hang out and be wherever you are when the least opportune time comes. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
great.
yeah. Plus, I mean, really, it's like their world, and we're just kind of like living in it. So
Oh,
that's
Mhm.
fair.
oh,
And just a
especially
side note, how many pets do you have now, Kat?
I am down to 2 right now. I just lost my oldest orange boy earlier this year.
Oh,
Sorry.
Um,
sorry.
uh, and then Parkins has seen my dogs in the past, but I have had since my Great Danes have passed. I have not gotten another dog. I've kind of enjoyed the not having the responsibility of having a dog,
Yeah, I get that.
but I miss the companionship.
Hmm.
Mhm.
I mean, there is an ebb and a flow, I think, when you care for animals all the time. You have to
Yeah,
be in the right headspace to like really commit to them because I think there's very little just like, "Ooh, I want a dog." You know what I mean? It's like, "I want a dog, but I know everything that goes along with it." And like any animal you add to your, menagerie, you're like, "Okay, I got this new animal coming in." So, I think that there is a little bit of a difference, especially because you're using when you're at work, you're caring for animals the
yeah.
entire time as well.
Well, and it's like a rule because you're in veterinary medicine, whatever animal you get is going to have every ailment under the sun. So, there's always that to look forward to.
Which is very, very true. And you think like you can outsmart the curse by like picking really well or doing your research was like, no, they're going to have the weirdest thing possible.
Yep.
Yeah, or bleeding hearts, like this animal needs the surgery and the owner can't afford it. So now it's my animal with 3 legs and 1 eye, and they're called lucky. And here we are. So
Yeah, or
that's
chance.
or chance. People, this is a public service announcement. Stop calling your animals lucky or chance. I promise you they'll be luckier without the names. So
Yes.
I'm doing it.
They have a way better chance if you don't do that.
Exactly.
Oh God. So I think one thing that people bring up every once in a while is, so you mentioned certified veterinary technicians. Kind of what that process looks like and what's the difference for other individuals who are also in the field helping animals. Do you want to go over a little bit of that difference for people just so they know why what you do is so important?
Yeah. So if the veterinary field is odd, it's still a lot behind the human medical field. It's catching up slowly, but you used to be able to just be hired, well, and I guess people still are, but hired off the street and trained to do the job of what is the equivalent of a human nurse.
Mhm.
Without any sort of certification or outside training or anything like that. And in the more recent years, the certified veterinary technician, so someone who has gone to a school that is qualified, I can't even think of the word.
Accredited.
Thank you, that's the word I was looking for. Has and then has taken their boards, can be a certified veterinary technician or a licensed veterinary technician or registered I mean, they have all these different names, which
And I
is really
think it varies by state, right? Because our state, I'm in Indiana, right next door to Illinois,
yeah.
and we're licensed veterinary technicians here. And what is it in California? Because there's
Registered?
RVT.
I think
Oh
it's
no,
I
no,
think
we're RVT here, and then there's LVT in North Carolina where I used to live, and then CVT. So I think there's 3 different distinctions.
There's 4 actually.
4?
There's 4 letters, and I can never remember what the letters are, but it's like licensed veterinary technician person. I don't know, but it's a 4-letter one. It's weird, and it's only in one state, I think.
Oh, I've never seen that one before. It's kind of like the doctors that went to the
Penn.
Penn. They're
Yeah.
DMDs, and then everybody else
DM,
is
yeah.
TVMs.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Yeah,
Let's
they
be
just had to have
consistent,
something
guys.
different.
Of course. So going through the accredited program, and then I had to do an externship after that where I was working at a clinic as an extern, so as basically as a student and learning from all the technicians there, because it's very different obviously learning in practice versus learning in school, as you guys know well. I think the push towards having everybody be licensed is fantastic. The old saying is, "Oh, you wouldn't want someone who hasn't gone through nursing school to be a nurse for you in a human hospital. Why would you want the same for your animals?" So I think there's a lot more context that goes into that, but I think having licensed technicians is a good thing and should be starting to take effect throughout most of the U.S. And hopefully all of the U.S. soon.
Having worked kind of with both, I would say that there is a very big difference. And not to say that I have worked with some that have done it for so long. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? That and they were like people who wanted to know the why and things like that you learn from actually going to school. But there is a very, like, to me, there is a difference between somebody who just learns how to do something and somebody who learns why they do something. And to me, I think the education and like the what you all bring to the situation, I learn from my techs all the time. I feel like I'm really lucky because I work with techs that are constantly learning and they're constantly, being like, oh, did you know this, or did you hear this, or did you know what I mean, and like challenging me, and so expanding what I know. And I to me that is such a gift, and I'm really really thankful that that's different now. Like I can see a big difference. I think it's hugely important.
Yeah, and I am definitely not poo-pooing on non-licensed technicians. I was taught by some amazing unlicensed technicians, and they could run circles around me. Is the new grad where I'm like, I don't know how do I tape in this catheter again?
Mhm.
But I do think understanding the why of, disease processes and why we use certain medications and why it's bad to use certain medications, is really important, in order to be able to care for your animal or your patient that you're working with, and being able to recognize, like, hey, I know that this disease process can cause these kind of symptoms, and I'm starting to see these symptoms now, or things like that. It's really, really important. So
Yeah.
yeah. Thing.
Oh yeah, and no, I definitely did not think that we were like saying anything bad about those people. More so just that not everybody has that ability to take that curiosity, and you know what I mean? And so what, without the requirement, I feel like you'll still get those rock stars, right? But like, to get everybody to a certain level, I feel like that's what's helpful. You know what I mean?
I
For
agree. I
sure.
think the baseline's a little bit higher. Like the baseline's higher, but you still have some rock stars because I've seen some great
Oh yeah.
unregistered technicians and they're phenomenal. But yeah, it's just nice. I think have a little more cohesiveness as an industry moving forward. So I think that's always a good thing.
I mean, I don't think it matters who you are. I've been, licensed for years, and I'm still constantly probably annoying the crap out of my doctors. And I'm like, so why again don't I like to using this and not that? Or explain to me the difference again about, Cushing's and Addison's or whatever. I don't know. And so they always take the time to teach me, which I always appreciate. I probably with them half the time when they're trying to do their records, but I'm like, tell me now.
Oh, records. You should see how many I have to do.
Literally the worst. Literally the worst part of veterinary medicine. If someone fixes that problem for me, I will sign up for my degree right now. That's how much. But I think in all honesty, I think people don't recognize, because of that certification, and even those that aren't registered, how much work you guys really do on a daily basis. Like between, like, you guys take patients in, you triage them, you take histories, you take care of their pet, you give them all their medications, you clean up after them, you handle finances, you a lot of times will check them out as well. I don't, and this is no disrespect to the human industry, I don't mean this in any way, but like the breadth of skills and just things that you guys have to do, your title doesn't give you enough credit for.
I
In
agree
all
with that.
honesty,
Yeah.
I think you
Here.
guys just do so much.
I always like those things that kind of like, show all the different, like, I mean, just phlebotomy is one thing in human medicine. Radiology, one thing in human medicine. You know what I mean? Like, and you guys do all of it plus, I mean, it's really quite amazing actually. And I don't think people truly understand what your day to day is like.
I was kind of giggling a year or two ago. 2020, I had to have my gallbladder out, and I was checked in by one nurse. She kind of went over my, patient history, and then she's like, okay, we're going to place a catheter. And then another nurse comes trotting in to place a catheter. And then she said, okay, now we're going to go to, to the surgery suite. And somebody else comes over and moves into the surgery suite. And then somebody else was recovering me. And then somebody else was checking me. I mean, I was like, yeah, I could do all y'all jobs.
It's really true. It is so odd to me to think though, like how oddly truncated it all is. Could you imagine not following your patient through the
No.
entire like, you know what they were like when they came in. You know what I mean? Like, it's so strange to me that they don't do things that way. I feel like on some level you're losing something from not being able to kind of follow them through. But I don't work in human medicine, so what do I know?
Yeah, I mean, I think they also have the advantage most of the time, of, having their patients be able to talk and say, I already told you I was feeling sick about, my.
Yeah.
So they can get the histories and those symptoms and stuff repeated back to them, whereas, a dog just looks at me like,
Well,
you think.
Your guess. Is my pain managed?
But yeah, I mean, having to do, all of those. I just saw one of those memes recently, especially because it's, vet tech week right now, of like, somebody, it looks like a police procession or something like that, and they're all labeled with all the different jobs, all the cop cars, and there are like 20 cop cars behind this one person, and that one person was labeled as a, vet tech, and I'm like, yep, it's true, we do the cleaning and everything. And it always makes me laugh because the doctors are most of the time, making decisions, writing records, typing, right? That's what you guys do. You sit and you type, and then you get up, you examine animals, you talk to owners, and then you sit and you type. Meanwhile, I'm running around like crazy. And so I get really hot. Also, mama's got a little, girth to her. I'm a little hefty. So I start sweating in very, strange places. So I'm like cranking the air conditioner down. And then meanwhile, the doctors who, in a normal setting are just typing. And they're like, it's so cold in here. And I'm like, you touch that air conditioner and die. You put on a jacket. Wrap a blanket around yourself. I'm sweating.
Like, get a space heater.
In the middle of, yeah.
That cracks me up. I'm sorry. Too busy laughing for a second to focus on the actual conversation. But yes, it's very true. You guys work extremely hard. I don't think people give you guys enough credit for how much you guys are literally running around with your heads cut off, because all the things we're asking you guys to do over and over again. So it's
are you managing multiple different doctors' cases at your clinic, or or do you stay with one doctor? How does that work? Or you're just in the ICU, so you're just mostly taking care of everybody's patients. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, especially on overnights. There's you obviously no specialty doctors there unless they are called in for like a surgery or a scope or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
We have 2 doctors on my shift, and then one of them ends there. So we have like a swing, a daytime, and overnight, and a criticalist, usually working during a 24-hour period.
Mm-hmm.
So the swing doctor shift is usually over around 11. That's, again, not always true. But and then our overnight doctor works from 8 to 8.
Mm-hmm.
So it's usually just the, one doctor managing all the cases that are hospitalized. And then after 11, they start, being the only doctor on to see outpatients. So all the specialty patients that are hospitalized, any ER patients that are hospitalized, and any ER patients that are admitted on that shift. Yeah.
It's a
Lots
lot.
to
You guys
juggle.
do. Yeah. What's I guess one thing that you think? What's your favorite part of the job? And then we'll maybe do what's your least favorite part of the job, because I'm curious from your standpoint.
My favorite part of the job is it's patient care. Like, I love working with the patients. I love especially being able to see those patients who come in and are on death's door, and through the care of the doctors and all the technicians and assistants and everything that are working, not maybe not cure, but at least fix or cure or make better, and that animal go home, especially if it's been there for like, over a couple days. And again, we had one patient who literally came in practically deceased and went home 2 days ago.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
yay.
And being able to catch things for the doctors, because you guys rely on us to really keep eyes on patients, because you are doing 80 million other things, and that's just how the job goes. So I really think being able to say like, hey doctor, I don't like how this patient's breathing, can you come take a look? And you guys go, yep, let's scan him, and then all of a sudden, yep, we see pleural effusion. Or hey, this patient is now getting really edematous, and I think we should turn down fluids. And you guys look over and you're like, yep, you're right, turn down the fluids. So being able to kind of see those things and have doctors acknowledge and go, hey, good catch, is a really nice thing, for at least on my end personally. I'm like, yeah, I like it.
That makes a lot of sense. So it's very rewarding to see everything you're doing benefit the patients. And I mean, like I said, I don't know what I would do without my technicians. They honestly, they notice so many things. They're right on top of it every day, and it's immensely important. I'm guessing though we were going next to some things you might not enjoy quite as much.
Well, ever since COVID happened, the veterinary industry blew up basically. Like, I don't know what happened. I really don't, but it just exploded, and we've been busier than ever. So my least favorite thing right now is probably staffing. We're so understaffed. And it's like, as soon as we're like, okay, we've hired 2 new people, great, we're training them, great, we kind of catch up, and then somebody else leaves. And most of the people at our hospital, at least, aren't leaving because of the hospital itself. They're leaving because they're leaving veterinary medicine a lot.
Yeah.
Or they maybe don't want to work ER anymore and they want to go to GP, or money situation, they need more money. That's the probably the least favorite. That and impacted cat poop are my least favorite things about veterinary medicine. I'm sorry, but that is one of the worst smells I've ever smelled in my entire life, and I just can't.
I have to agree with you. If you've never smelt an obstipated cat, that's one of the all-time worst smells.
Yep.
That's horrible.
That and like parvo, diarrhea.
Parvo's up there for me.
That's one of those, I can't unsmell it, sort of. It gets in your...
I am used to it, I guess, so it doesn't bother me. It's not great. It's not, I'm not going to go, spray it in my room or anything, but the one that
of parvo is not your favorite.
my candle right here. Chocolate
She's like,
vomit.
well, I have my anal gland scent. I have my parvo scent.
Chocolate vomit to me is the worst because it
Ooh!
smells and good, but it's vomit, and it doesn't smell good. So it's just it's
wrong. It just ruins chocolate, which nothing should ruin chocolate.
Exactly. It's wrong.
But yeah, no, obstipated cat poop. That's disgusting, and it's horrible.
I will take maggots. I will take, well, not disgusting. I love abscesses, but
I do too.
You're either an abscess person or you're not, and I love a good abscess.
I get giddy when I'm in a room and I'm like, "Whew, this is gonna be a good one."
When it's good when you need more than like 1 or 2 towels to kind of catch everything.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like everybody knows me well enough. They're like, stand back, she'll spray you with it. Not on purpose. I just get very excited, and then they end up going places. I've gotten myself before too, so I'm not even gonna say that.
Equal opportunist. That's good.
I am. I don't. It's not like I like aim. I mean, just when it's ready to
pissed
go,
me
it's
off
ready
this
to go.
week.
Oh, but
God.
see, Dr. Pimple Popper is popular for a reason. Lots
Exactly.
of people enjoy that.
This conversation took a weird turn for me. I was like,
not your thing, huh, Robert? Not your thing?
I don't mind abscesses. They work.
You don't mind them? They're fantastic.
Yeah.
They're very satisfying, put it that way. Like, because the amount of relief like you give them afterwards is really nice. Because like they're trying to like complete angry, not so nice cat to like, oh, I feel so much better now. You're like, thank you. So yes, there are some advantages to it. So
now, do you do a lot of interacting with the owners then? If you're in the ICU most of the time, are you even really having to talk to them, or maybe just giving them updates, or what's your interaction with the owners?
So when you're working on inpatient or ICU, yeah, you don't have as much interactions with owners. Usually it's when they call for an update. Sorry, little visitor. I will, give them updates. I like to send them pictures, or if, little videos if they are like eating for the first time or something like that. So that's what I like to do. Or if they come visit, I'll talk to them. But most of the time, no, I don't have a ton of interaction. It's on when you're on outpatient ER kind of area that you have most of the interactions with owners.
Right. What was that?
I said I do both.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying maybe you preferred that.
Oh. I mean, there are, especially during COVID when I was one of the only inpatient nurses on my shift, and I like to switch it up. So for a while I was really doing only inpatient, and then when we started having some more people who were experienced enough to take inpatients and I could be on the ER side, I chose to do that because I just needed a break. And so talk to owners. And then, other times it's been I'm like, okay, you know what? I just want to deal with my inpatients and not have to talk to people in general
Mhm.
most of the time. So I like to switch back and forth.
Yeah. That actually makes sense because you know what? I think sometimes you need a break from, anything that you're doing, and it gives you a better perspective to really appreciate when you
Yeah,
are having to do some of that stuff or when you're not having to do some of that stuff.
for
So
sure.
that's pretty good. I always feel for you guys on emergency because I think you get people at their most heightened emotions, and that doesn't always do best for people's behavior.
Correct. We have definitely had some situations and had them escalate. We've had to have police come out multiple times. Um, we've had, threats. And you have to remember, really, it is what you were saying, heightened emotions. It's
Yeah.
people dealing with grief. It's people being really upset at themselves or at the situation. So you have to try not to take it personally, but it can be scary at times.
Mhm.
uh, you never know how people are going to react these days. And we're also handing them a very usually hefty estimate.
Right.
Fortunately, it costs a lot of money, especially to be open 365 days a year, 24/7.
Yeah.
uh, so I completely understand. Like, it's it's hard for me to say, hey, we need $6,000 tonight, sign please.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that I think is really rough, because as a technician, that's one of the things that's part of our job, is to go over the estimates with clients.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
we usually get the brunt of the ire over money.
Mhm.
I couldn't agree
Yeah.
more because one of my technicians actually just had the same issue where, and she's a phenomenal technician. She's usually very compassionate, but she just got over so many estimates and was asking for so much money all the time. And she kind of lost her cool a little bit when an owner was having a hard time with it. And she said something she didn't mean. It just came off. She was just frustrated with everything, and I felt bad for her. It's just I think they don't understand the stress. Like no one likes asking for money. If we could do this for free, we would, honestly, as long as we
Mhm.
could sustain a livelihood. I think we would, honestly. There's so many people that are bleeding hearts in this industry, but the impact on the technicians, I think, is tougher because you guys go over a lot more of those treatment plans than even the doctors do. So it's tough. But I don't know. Hopefully, there's a better way to do it in the future. I'm not sure if there is, but
Well, I wish there was some magic, right? Or like some go between, you know what I mean? But that's the problem, right? I mean, like that's not even why you got into this industry. You got in to do the nursing care, to do the medicine, to do that kind of stuff. And then it's like now I have to go have a financial discussion with somebody, and you're like, I'm not even, I'm not even saying that I think that this is like, you understand that's a lot of money. You know what I mean? Like, but that's what it's gonna cost. You know what I mean? And it's hard. I even think about it all the time too, and I'm like, okay, we should do this. We should do this. We should really do this. And I'm like, I know it's gonna cost them so much money, but like we need to do this and we need to, you know what I mean? And like I feel almost guilty every time I'm like putting together a really like good estimate that I know is covering all the bases, because I'm like, I know this is going to cost them a lot of money, and I feel bad. I wish that that wasn't the case, but it has to be done, or I am not going to be able to get them the answer that they want. And if they don't want to spend this money, we're literally going to be in the dark. I might be able to do a treatment, but I have no idea if I'm treating the right thing, and it's so hard. It's so difficult, that part of it.
Well, and I think people too don't realize, like, how many things we do for free. Like, we don't charge. There's so many things, so
Hmm.
many that we don't charge for. And but and sometimes it's hard to go to a client. Well, I didn't charge you for this, so doesn't that make you feel good? Like,
Yeah.
you're not. Don't do that. Um, but I wish a lot of times too, like, owners and clients would be like upfront, like, this is the budget I'm working with, and I could say,
Yeah.
okay, then I can talk to the doctor and have them tailor the estimate so that the most important things are going to fit, or they can prioritize what can fit within that budget, and that helps us out a lot, especially if we're doing a lot of back and forth between estimates and clients, and trying to figure out things. If they could just say up front, like, hey, I've only got $400 I'm working
Right.
with, or I got to keep it under 1,000. Okay, well
Hmm.
then now we know we can kind of figure some things out. So I think that would be helpful, on clients. And then a lot of times, once I start asking about that, they do give me a little bit more of a numbers idea, but it can be
Hmm.
difficult for a little while for sure.
That definitely is something I think comes along with like your experience. You know what I mean? Like it's not your first rodeo. You've been here. You kind of understand that. Like I can see that you're stressed about the estimate. Maybe let's talk about like what your budget is, and then we can see, and I can talk to the doctor. We can, you know what I mean? We can come up with a plan. And sometimes
Mhm.
it's important, and I try to tell people that too. Like if we're gonna have only a certain amount of funds and we have to direct them to treatment and not diagnostics, I also need to know that because it really doesn't help for me to get the answer and then have you be like, well, I'm tapped out now, we can't do anything.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's hard too.
Yeah, I can agree more. And that's why myBalto's here. I
I
haven't
know.
done a shameless
I was
plug.
waiting for you to say it. I was like, "Come
I
on,
haven't done a
Robert,
shameless
when are
plug
you
in a
gonna
while. I'm
say it?"
sorry. So download the myBalto app and save money. But yes, there's my shameless plug for the day. I did what I needed to do. So you're welcome.
And
um,
so do you are they celebrating Veterinary Appreciation Week when you go to work this week?
With us, yes, actually, excuse me.
Good.
They one of the things that I am always very happy and appreciative, especially from some of the things I've seen in like other technician, groups and stuff that they don't even acknowledge Vet Tech Week, is our premier has always gone. I'm not gonna say all out, but they pretty much go all out, and they, try to do something for us every day, whether it's, food, goodie bags. The big thing that we've done, I think this will be the third or fourth year that we've done this now, is the doctors will treat all of the technicians, and it's not just the technicians, it's the assistants and the CCRs as well, to breakfast, and they work the floor.
oh really? Oh God.
Ooh, that's amazing.
That's
For
the day of
about
the week, kids. You don't go to the hospital.
for about 2 hours. The doctors are the nurses. They run the blood work. They answer the phones. They check people in and out. They do the treatments. They do all of that, and it's hilarious.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not sure I know how to check someone out of my clinic. I don't actually think I know how to do it.
I don't think I do either.
Yeah.
I think I could run blood work.
They'll not be pushing it for me too. I need you
You know,
guys. Don't leave me.
the thing that's so sad is like I had worked as a technician, so like there was a time where I really knew how to, but like I haven't done it in so long. I might be able, I might be able to figure it out.
We do crash courses for them. They know if a stat comes in or something that they can run some blood work. But it's always fun teaching them how to do that.
Oh,
Well,
I bet.
I know I'm gonna text some of my friends that still work at that clinic. I'm just gonna be like, hey guys, how's your week going?
It's going to be this Thursday morning that's happening.
Oh,
So
they'll be getting some text Thursday morning. Not a problem.
uh, and then in the years past, they've had masseuse come in and do like 15 hair massages. So you sign up, and she's there like all day. So they try to get all the shifts in. And what else? I'm helping out this year, and we're doing like little trivia games and candy jars and all sorts of different kind of things. We've gotten gifts in the past, like jackets, cups, um, uh, more jackets, fleeces, kind of stuff. So some swag. So yeah,
Yeah,
like they do a good job taking care of us.
that's good. I always get so worked up before this week because I'm like, I just want to make sure that whatever I do, they understand how much I love them and how much I appreciate them. So like every year I try to come up with something. This year I've had custom cookies made. I haven't seen them yet, but I'm very excited about them because I think they're going to be really cute. So I'll post pictures of them when they're done. And then
Please do.
I got them all like big fluffy vet tech blankets. So hopefully
Oh
they like those. And then I got
yeah,
them socks and some like a candle. I'm just trying to do something that's like, they can
relax.
relax and yeah, exactly. And then like one year I made surgery caps. One year I was like, I just try to come up with something like each year to just be like, I love you guys and don't quit.
Please don't quit.
I need you. You're so helpful. And then we get everybody food. So like each day we each get a day. So tomorrow's my day to feed everybody. So I'll be feeding everybody tomorrow too. So
Nice.
yeah.
Wow.
I was like, keep going. What other ideas? I need something for next year.
Well, it just makes me it makes me feel happy that our hospital does take care of us, but I also feel maybe that I've been a little spoiled, because I've seen on these like Facebook groups or technician discussion places where they're like, yeah, they bought a Subway one day and that was it, or they don't even acknowledge it, or they don't acknowledge everybody, and it's really sad that some places don't care, or they're like, why would I do that to you guys? Kind of like the doctors, or not doctors, but management has said, yeah, why would we do that? Why would we acknowledge Vet Tech Week, kind of thing? And I'm like, why wouldn't you?
You're like, because you're grateful for your vet techs, as you should be.
Exactly. So yes, I'm definitely maybe a little spoiled, but happy to be so.
Well, it's very well deserved. I can say that for at the very least. And that's one thing I'm happy with Ethos for. They do a great job of making sure they take care of their technicians as they should. And I give my appreciation to food. So I got to find something else to give this year because Ethos got that one on lockdown. So I'll find a different thing, but it's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like you are in the right place if you feel appreciated. And I feel like that's how it should be. And so, hopefully maybe we'll spread the word that you should do things for your technicians. If you can get anything out of this podcast, this is what it should be. Appreciate them and let them know they're appreciated.
Actually,
sure.
why don't you, if you're listening, share it with us on social media. We'd actually love to see it. Share it on myBalto Vet Cares. We love just to kind of see the pictures of your team, the things you do for them. We'd love to share that and make sure everybody knows how much we appreciate the technicians that make this industry so much better. So keep in mind this week as you listen to this podcast, because we've got awesome guests and some awesome ideas for all of you to consider.
And thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I really hope people understand how much we appreciate and love technicians. And I appreciate you and everything that you do. And you had to work with him. So, I mean, you survived. Just kidding.
A labor, let me tell you. No. It was awesome. Thank you guys for having me. It's been awesome to chat with you guys. Parkins, I've missed you. Mister, I'm only 3 years.
Oh, don't tell people that. I should tell everyone I said hi, though. I miss everyone there. They're all wonderful people. And Dr. Full is still one of the best bosses I've ever had. So you can relay that to her. She's a complete badass. So hopefully I'll see you guys soon.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you again. We really appreciate it. If you know any veterinary technicians, you better give them lots of love this week. They deserve it. And thank you, everybody, for listening to the Pawsit podcast. And we really appreciate you. We appreciate technicians. And everybody have a wonderful week.
Thanks, guys.